The Tuesday edition of the Romeo program coming your way a March evening right here in New York City. I would implore the president to do something about the border. At this time, I'm just flabbergasted at the fact that nothing is said about this pressing issue. We're concerned with COVID. We're ensconced in this crisis of the 21st century, which is COVID. I understand the enormity of the whole situation, but my goodness, they're pouring in by the thousands at the border and not a peep from the White House. And they have the nerve, the audacity to call it a non-issue. It's not a crisis at all. According to sources from the White House and that woman that speaks on the behalf of the president, who never gives you a straight answer, is always talking in circles. She claims it's not a crisis and that Joe has it firmly in hand. I'm here to tell you, folks, this is a huge crisis when thousands of kids, unaccompanied kids, now I'm talking about kids sometimes 6 years old, sometimes 9, sometimes 15, pouring in without any kind of adult supervision. We put them in makeshift cages. They are cages. I don't care what they call them. They're pens. They're cages. Yeah, they get 3 squares a day. I'm sure they're not starving. They're treating them well, I'm sure, but they're congested cages. They're pens like you keep animals, and they consistently pour in. And the parents, what kind of parents, folks? Think about this for 1 second before I go on. I have a lot to say on this issue. But think about this for 1 second before I go on. What kind of parents can send their child? I don't care if you're running from a despotic government, financial ruin, poverty up the yin-yang. What kind of parents can send a child alone to a foreign country? What gets it? What do they have in their psyche that they're somehow emotionally able to do this? And could you, I'll ask this question. I'll take your answers at 646-492-2436 with any kind of rationale, any kind of logic, anything you may think in your mind about fleeing a despotic government and the poverty that envelops them in these countries. I understand about the southern border. I understand what they're running from. Sometimes I understand where they're coming from. These countries that they're shitholes. I understand where they're coming from. But what kind of parent can say, okay, bye. I hope it works out for you there, kid. What is this? But I'll tell you, that's not even the crux of the matter, because I can't really get into the psyche of and anybody can have a kid, as I mentioned many times. It doesn't make you a parent because you bore a child. It doesn't necessarily make you a parent. It just makes you the biological mother or the biological father if you shot the sperm. And I understand this is the requirement for a parent, but it's not necessarily a good parent. Can I put it that way? What kind of parent sends their child to a country just so he or she can maybe find a better life and probably not even be so lucky? See, you understand that many get here, but some do not. This is the crime of the entire situation. But let me not get sidetracked by that aspect of it, because that aspect is something for a psychologist to figure out, not for me. And Mr. Biden, President Biden, you're approaching 80 years old. I know the senility has kicked in. You don't have much of a wit about you anymore. I understand that. But can you possibly at least call it what it is, a crisis? This is a crisis of great magnitude, Mr. President. And for you to call it anything less is an insult to my intelligence. And everybody listening to this program, I'm sure you're with me on this. And, children pouring in by the thousands each and every day isn't a crisis, what is? What the hell is? What would you call a crisis if not this? Can you tell me? More political speak, more political hack speak. That's all it is. To appear to be in control, to appear to have everything in hand. But in reality, he doesn't. Because he doesn't consider this enormous issue anything to worry about. According to him, if we take him seriously, get on the TV, get on all the outlets, Mr. President, tell the folks what exactly is going on at their border. It's our border, It's not his border. It's our border. And tell the American people what is going on. Because if you ever do tell the details of what's going on down there, we'd be appalled at the atrocities of what's going on down there. I'm sure we would be taken aback. Anybody with any sensibility would be taken aback. Kids landing on our shores with no parents and no direction. We don't even know who they are. The only country in the world, mind you, now this is taking in third world countries, these terrible governments, all of the above. The only country, the lone country in the world that would allow this. The only one. No other. We're the only idiots that do things like this. Why? To call it a crisis is politically incorrect. It may look bad for the administration to take this crisis in our hands and actually do something about it would be a poor reflection on the current administration. No. The poor reflection on the current administration is to do nothing and to deny the magnitude of the situation. That's the sin. Do you understand where I'm coming? I do hope I'm not out of the box too strongly for a brand new week. I know I wasn't here on Sunday. We put a Romeo repeat in on Sunday. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't want to start off too harshly because I have nowhere to go but down if I start at the pinnacle here. But my goodness, this has exercised me to no end. I'm thoroughly disgusted by this because I see these kids. I think of myself as a small child, how much I needed my mother and how much I needed the parental guidance that I got and the adults around me taking care of my needs. These children are here in a foreign land and we treat them as though they have no feelings. We treat them as though they're just cattle. They're animals. I know that's harsh, but it's true. When we treat them like this, we treat them like animals. When you put a bunch of kids in pens, what are you doing? What would you call it? You're treating them like animals. Maybe through no fault of those down by the border, what the hell are they supposed to do, right? If you're going to let these children in, we're going to have some sort of a protocol to live by in order to be able to fit these children's needs and to take care of them properly. I don't know, because we're the only idiots who allow something like this. You're not helping anybody by taking these kids in and these people in willy-nilly, in this willy-nilly manner. You're not helping anyone. You're destroying our sovereignty, number one. You're making a laughing stock of the border. Why do we even have a border? Could I ask that question? Why even have a border? It's so esoteric now, it doesn't mean anything. That's the one thing about President Trump. Oh, my gosh, did I say his name? That's all they talk about still. They still talk about President Trump on the other station as if he were still president. Have you noticed that? They can't get rid of that name from their lips because that's all that brought them money for the last 4 years. That brought them any kind of fame any kind of subject material for the last 4 years. They can't stop talking about him. But I'll bring him up just for this one reason. At least there was an inkling of a solid border. He didn't build a fence. I didn't want a fence, but he did make a promise of building a fence, never followed through on that promise, one of many, folks. But at least there was some sort of an inkling, something there that was actually resembling a border. Now it's just a free-for-all. Well, President Biden, I know you're approaching 80. I know you had no business being president in the first place. I knew you were the better choice of the two, but that's not saying much. Try to do the right thing. Try to do the right thing. Take this matter into consideration. Make it your top priority. Make COVID-19 number 2, but make the border crisis number 1. Please. We talked about the healthcare system, a shambles in this country. The healthcare system is a joke. The healthcare system and all its minutia is a joke. Every single time I have to navigate my way through the healthcare system, I want to throw up. I want to vomit. I want to expel matter from the esophagus every single time I run into this nonsense about the health situation in this country. So here are your priorities. The border. Listen to me, Joe. Listen to me, Joe. You and your hair plugs. The border, the health crisis. Yes, I said health crisis, not COVID crisis. The health crisis, because when people need the medical care that they usually need toward the end of their lives and they're not able to get it, that's a crisis, Joe. That's that we don't have universal health care at this particular time in space here. That's a crisis. And number 3, Joe, is the border crisis. The border crisis, when the little ones are coming over willy-nilly by the thousands, unsupervised, and put in pens. What the hell are we doing? This country is an embarrassment. An embarrassment on so many fronts. It's been an embarrassment on the COVID-19 front. The former president denied it for months on end. You can't tell me differently. Talking about COVID-19 for a second. The former president denied it the first few months because he knew it would reflect badly on his presidency. So many people died that ordinarily wouldn't have had the president, the former president, acknowledged its magnitude at that time. It was an embarrassment on the COVID front. It's an embarrassment on the health care front. And it's a tremendous embarrassment on the border. 646-492-2436. And I know all too well that you like the patriotism down the dial. You like all that nonsense, all that bullshit down the dial. I know you're into it when they act red, white, and blue, and all they care about is lining their pockets. And you're fooled again. I know you like that down there. You're not going to get it here. You're going to get the real thing from a real, true independent. See, I'm an independent in the most natural way. I'm putting it poorly, but I'm not an independent that's another name for a Republican. You see, most independents, they're Republicans anyway. I am a true independent. I'm one that takes each issue. I don't care whose toes I step on. I don't care about what side I'm going to take before the actual issue comes up. I talk honestly and boldly about each and every issue. And frankly, folks, it's the only way I know how to do things. I could not do it any other way. I'm all jacked up. 646-492-2436. You can text your thoughts. 646-492-2436. It's Romeo Radio. If you don't know, Ralph Romeo with you. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. We deal with the issues of the day. And, everything's grist for the mill. What I mean by that is we don't just talk politics. We talk about everything. I talk social issues. I talk fitness from time to time. I talk about the things that affect you on a daily basis. I don't just stick to Republican good, Democrat bad. You know, that's not my fare here on WPAT. I thank everybody at PAT. My good friend Dawood getting me on the air. I really appreciate it. Let me go to Governor Cuomo, because Governor Cuomo is the topic du jour in this town, anyway, New York. And I think across the nation, because of his terrible, terrible sexual harassment. The charges against him are so numerous now. 30, count them, folks. You ready? 30 of these chicks come out after the fact. Oh, he touched me. He kissed me. He reached down my blouse. And now, Governor Cuomo, he's talking about the size of his hands compared to his penis. Isn't that a wonderful thing for a governor to be preoccupied with? He seemed to have been preoccupied about his hands, this hand size, which is inane, stupid, and immature and juvenile. You understand that, right? But, I mean, this is what he was completely taken by. This is his main objective here when talking to women. Don't you like my hands? Aren't they large? Oh, yes, and masculine. You know there's a correlation between penis size and hand size. You do know that. Just making you aware. Check out these hands. Take a look at these hands. You can just imagine what I got under here with these hands, you know? All of this nonsense we have to take in. We have to take in all this frivolity, all this nonsense we have to take in. And so I want to, again, I want to throw up at the fact, folks, I've said it before, I'll say it till I die, at the fact that his utter neglect led to the demise of thousands at nursing homes. And what are we preoccupied with? What are the idiots in the news media, the idiots preoccupied with? His sexual harassment charges, his preoccupation with his large hands, his groping of women, his kissing of women. Oh my, that's what we're so preoccupied with. Well, what a wonderful world. We have our priorities straight, don't we? I would hate if we had priorities skewed. That would be terrible. Thank goodness we have our priorities straight. We really get to the crux of the matter. We know what's important, don't we? Thousands of old folks, they don't mean anything. I know that. I told you should have lined them up against the wall and shot them. It would have been less painful for them. You may as well have. You killed thousands of them by your neglect. What are we preoccupied with? That. Isn't that something? Isn't that wonderful? Aren't you proud? Yeah. And that is going to be his downfall. Not the killing of all these innocent folks. No. His sexual harassment charges. Well, I'm telling you, I am embarrassed. And you think you're getting this guy out of office? You think somehow, some way he's going to step down without you going in with a forklift to drag him out? You think somehow he's going to find his way and step down? You have to be kidding. No way in hell. That's not his MO. He will never do anything like that. 646-492-2436. I give that number so you can text your thoughts this evening. We do this thing 4 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, 8 o'clock. Let me check those texts right now. I appreciate you folks chiming in. We got a lot of them. Excuse me. We got a lot of them coming on board, talking. Thank you, sweetheart. I sound great. Thank you so much. Let's see now. We have, these texts. I cannot. Okay. Oh my gosh. Remind me not to go to these texts too often because of the way this phone is. It's just absurd. Trump did start the wall. He did not finish it. Cuomo needs to open New York City. We are living in a ghost town. That's our friend Nate from the Bronx. Well, let me speak on that, Nate, and thanks for the prompting. about opening up. We want to open up, and New York it thrives, or they fall. Their lack thereof of restaurants. I understand, but we cannot move with too much alacrity at this time. That may be a very, very unpopular take on the matter that I have, but would you feel comfortable sitting in a restaurant full capacity on top of each other at this point in time? Would you feel at ease eating your lamb chops with the other table right on top of you like the old days? In other words, would you like to go back to normal where you're flying on planes, you're sitting in movie houses, sitting in theaters, Broadway theaters, sitting in restaurants? Would you feel at ease in that capacity? I wouldn't. I'm not going to push it anymore. I've had the virus. I'm not so sure I couldn't get it again. I think there's a distinct possibility I could get it twice. I'm not really sold on the fact that one time and you're out and you're free and you're safe. I'm not really positive about that, but I will say I'm a little bit hesitant to go back to business as usual right now, Nate. Jose from the Bronx tells me that the fact that you talk about Governor Cuomo and the way you talk about him, saying that the sexual harassment is, I don't know this word here, I think not important. Is that what you're saying? Unimportant, that's the word. Unimportant, I think you're off base. Am I? Jose, am I? I couldn't care less that a woman has come out now, and I don't care if you give me 30 or 100 or 200. I couldn't care less that a woman has come out charging him with any kind of sexual harassment at this point in time. All I care about, Jose, you seem to be very callous toward this issue, and your feelings on the matter are very, very, very misplaced. I don't care about the sexual allegations. I'm not shocked by them, not taken aback by them whatsoever. I understand that men will be men and women will be women and so on and so forth. And these things have occurred, folks, Jose, since time immemorial. They have been going on like this. The different, all of these scenarios between men and women have been happening in the workplace forever. Forever, Jose. Men like Governor Cuomo have been taking advantage of their position forever, Jose. You naive person, you. Forever. It's always happened. Is it right? No, it's not right. I'm not here to tell you that Governor Cuomo is noble and it's right. No, it's not right. But the priorities, so skewed, so ridiculously pointed in one direction and not the other. What are we talking about? Do you not care about the elderly killed at the hands of his ineptitude? Do you not care about that? Jose, I hope you do. I don't want to make too big a fool out of you on the radio, so I'll beg off right now, okay? Mary in Union, New Jersey. Mary, quite contrary. How does your garden grow? Mary says, I love your program. I listen to you for the facts, and you are a true independent. An independent doesn't mean a Republican. An independent means exactly what it means, independent. That's what Mary says. Thanks, Mary. I appreciate that. Derek from Staten Island. I'm Derek from Staten Island. I hear these other people talking, and they have such an accent from Staten Island. I'm so glad that I don't have an accent from Staten Island. Hi, I'm Derek. Hi, Derek. It's great. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of your. I'm making fun of your borough. No, I'm really not. But Derek says, love my good and plenty. Derek says, really rings a bell. Derek says, love my good and plenty. I never met a candy that I love so well. No, he didn't say that. Derek said that your show is unlike any other, and you're right about WABC down the dial, although I listened to Greg Kelly. If you haven't heard, this is what Derek is saying. If you haven't heard, Greg Kelly has started down the dial, and what you call down the dial, thank you. I appreciate you quoting me, has started down the dial, and his show is fantastic. Really, Derek? You gotta be kidding, Derek, or you have no taste. Are you serious? That guy's a sure cure for insomnia. He is so bad. It's laughable. This guy gets on the air with the same blather he's been doing on TV for years, and you're falling for it? Oh, my gosh. I'd rather watch paint dry, watch the grass grow, take a bath in dirty water. You choose, Derek. But my gosh, that show is hideous. But nevertheless, I'll stop burning bridges before I have none to burn. Did you happen to check out the Grammys? By the way, continue to text 646-492-2436. Have you seen the Grammys? I didn't see the Grammys. I wouldn't waste my time with that nonsense, but I did, however, look in on it. A video of the Grammys just to see what kind of nonsense went on. Can you say the word completely despicable? Can you say the word despicable? Say it the way they used to say in the cartoons, despicable. Did you say it for me? I hope you did. I have to take a breath. I've been going nonstop since I got on the air. Those Grammy Awards, by the way, I haven't seen a Grammy program since Karen Carpenter won for Rainy Days and Mondays in 1972. I think that was the last time I saw the Grammys. But nevertheless, I did see the video. The way they conduct themselves on these award shows these days, especially this one, is completely despicable. I can't stop saying that. It's so silly. But it makes me laugh. It's really atrocious. Seriously, it has to be seen to believe how bad it is, how disgusting they are. The way they act, these people. When I say these people, red, white, blue, purple, don't give me any race card. I'm not talking about a certain race. I'm talking about these people who enjoy such things, such venues. It is the most despicable display. It's a despicable display. I have never seen something as horrendous as this. I'll let it go with that because there's not much to say about that other than how despicable it is. How many times can I say it without driving you insane, But then I also here's the new trend as I bounce from topic to topic. I hope you don't mind. Here's the new trend. These doctors, now, of course, they're in the forefront because of the COVID crisis. Doctors of all persuasions and beliefs are in the forefront because we want to know their, excuse me. Don't mind me. I'm just dying and choking. We want to know where they're coming from with this COVID. And where they're coming from is apparently very, very political in nature. What do I mean by that? Well, it seems the right-wing-based programs, either on TV or on radio, or other mediums for that matter, have taken upon themselves to put doctors on of the same political bent, the same political persuasion as they are, or their station is. In other words, if you're listening to some blather like Newsmax, you've heard of Newsmax, it's a Fox clone, very right-wing, to the right of Attila the Hun, as a matter of fact. They'll put on doctors, not because of their medical knowledge, not because they have something to say about the COVID issue. No. That would be too smart and too simple. That would be much to the point. You understand that? That wouldn't fly in today's world. No, they put them on according to their political feelings, their political leanings, if you will. So you'll get a right-wing doctor spewing right-wing politics in the midst of his COVID dissertation on something called Newsmax, where if you're listening to CNN or MSNBC, you'll get a doctor with a left-wing slant. Now, here's what you'll get. On something called Newsmax, for instance, you'll get a doctor who will tell you masks are not really a preventative tool. Distancing does not work. We should be back in full capacity with all of the venues around the country. No state should be closed for the COVID-19 virus. The worst of it has passed. There is no such thing as a second or third wave. All of the above. Fauci, the COVID czar, doesn't know what he's talking about, according to these right-wing doctors, which I'm speaking about. And you'll get that type of doc on the right-wing program. Now, you'll get the old fingers in tune to CNN or MSNBC, and what will you find there? You will find, to your chagrin probably, if you're a right-wing zealot, you will find that those doctors will tell, we need to double and triple mask. We need to keep these folks separated. We need to have just a small amount of people, perhaps in an alternate fashion, going to these venues here and there, but we must be very, very careful. We cannot fall back into complacency, or we risk a second wave or third wave that I talked about before. You see, depending on the nature of the venue, MSNBC as opposed to Fox News or Newsmax, you will get that type of doctor appearing. It is, now, when I look at a doctor, I'm not thinking, well, I hope he's a Trump supporter, if I happen to be one. And I hope he's supporting my candidate because, I'd like to have him up. I'd like to have someone that feels the same way that I feel politically before he opens up my chest and starts to pound on my heart and fix my valve. Do you think that way? Does anyone think that way? I don't think so. I think if you do think that way, you're foolish. Well, it seems that we go, and studies have shown this, and statistics bear this out. It seems that we go to these news outlets, these various news outlets, and we listen even for medical advice according to political proclivity. Are you with me? It's a little esoteric what I'm talking about. Try to stay with me. In other words, if you tune into Newsmax, you want to hear a doctor tell you what you want to hear, like masks are bullshit. We don't need to distance. The wave is over. COVID is on its way out. The statistics about the dead folks from COVID are skewed. They're not really true. It's a virus like any other virus. Those people that tune into that particular type of show would enjoy hearing that particular take from a doctor, not because it's correct, but because it coincides with their political leanings. Well, isn't that wonderful? If that's not the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, I don't know what is. Can you imagine? Can you imagine not wanting the real skinny, the real scoop on something that's a life and death matter? Can you imagine that? You'd rather hear politics from the guy that's pounding on your chest or reaching into your liver. You bunch of it. Oh, my good. And that statistic, that's indeed what the American public wants. All of those stats, hear me, bear out. It is indeed true. If that doesn't make you cringe, if that's not cringe-worthy as anything you've heard so far, I don't know what is, but it is a fact. Another great tidbit about Americans. Aren't you proud? Aren't you proud about your fellow dodo birds around you? 646-492-2436. You know, they say that talk radio is nothing if not negative. Well, I bear that out. 646-49. I'll tell you some positive news in a little while before I lose my voice. 646-492-2436. Text your thoughts. Let's go back to those texts. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. We have many coming in. I appreciate it. All right. I thought the equation was hand length, wrist to index finger, number of toes longer than 1 inch, depth of ear canal. Oh, Bob is talking about the penis size here. Depth of ear canal, earlobe to eardrum, weight of penis in grams, and circumference at base when fully erect, divided by number of hairs sticking off nostrils. Seems pretty straightforward to me, no? Bob, that's one of your best. That is one of your best. See, I have these little hands, but my goodness, my schlong doesn't lie. Let's see, who we have here? All right, let's see. I have a picture of a cleavage. It's wonderful. With a very nice bracelet. And, it's very interesting, very interesting. Yes. Okay. Is this Chastity? Isn't that something? I'd get someone named Chastity. Just when I talk about penis size. Chastity says, I wear my belt every... No, she doesn't say that. Chastity says, you have a wonderful, wonderful show. That's it? I thought there was more. I'm sorry. I wouldn't have read that because I don't necessarily read the complimentary ones that just give me a compliment because I look like I love myself, the narcissist. You know, I don't want to do that too often. That's what they do on other stations on a regular basis. I don't care to do that. I don't want everybody patting me on the back, although I enjoy it. But thank you. I appreciate that, Chastity. Put your belt on. Doris, and you know something? I can't believe this. Now, I know there was a very fabled caller to sports radio. I'm not so sure about anything political, but a very, very notable caller to sports radio called Doris from Rego Park. I'm actually getting a text from someone identifying themselves as Doris from Rego Park right now. How about that? Doris from Rego Park, I know she's deceased, so it's somebody else coincidentally. But it says, here's the one again. I keep getting this text. I have a feeling that people are disguising, calling themselves by a different name. But did I see you? I've gotten so many of these for some reason. I think it's a joke being played on me. Did I see you in Central Park with a blue Mets baseball cap on the other morning running the trail and above the river? Because someone looked like you, and I called out, said, Ralph, he turned around and looked. It wasn't me, Doris. It wasn't me. Jackie in Pennsylvania. The Catholic Church and Pope. Could you talk about him? He recently came out against gay marriage. I find it appalling. Let me talk about the guy with the Kleenex box on his head for a second, the Scott's tissue box on his head, the long bathrobe. You know, the guy with he's in the 21st century. It looks like he's in the 10th century. You know what I'm talking about? The staff, the rod, the whole works, the whole thing, the sandals. You understand what he wears on an everyday basis. I put on, a tank shirt and exercise pants. He puts on a smock. He said that although we love our gay brethren, I'm paraphrasing, but it's very similar. We love our gay brethren. We wish them well. They are children of God. Well, thank you. Hey, Pope, thank you. Are you sure? Do they qualify as, in quotes, children of God? I just want to make sure that's a statement on your part. Okay, but we do not accept the union of same sex. Well. Could I ask you a question? Is it better to love than to not? Is it better to love than to not love at all? Is it not better to find anyone to love, regardless of penis or lack thereof? To love. Is that not better than to not have loved at all? I am here to tell you it is. I'm being stupid, but, when will we collectively, truly move into the 21st century when we do not care at all? We acknowledge all relationships. In other words, I don't care if I love Steve or Susie. I don't care if I love Cindy or Charlie. It doesn't matter, and nor should you care. And every union by two people, if they're breathing, they have a pulse, they have hearts, they have minds, should be recognized. Who am I? Who am I to tell another whom he or she should love? I'm nobody. I don't qualify. Who am I to dictate who anyone should love? But you see, the Pope makes a point. Again, he qualifies his statement by saying that we acknowledge his uniqueness. We acknowledge everyone involved. I'm sorry, I had a little tech difficulty there for a minute. We acknowledge everyone involved, yet we do not condone. I think the word he used, I'm not quite sure. So I shouldn't say that because I'm not quite sure on the wording. We don't condone or give our blessing or something to that effect, the gay marriage. Well, I'll say it in a nutshell. The Pope is wrong. The Pope's antiquated. His feelings are from the medieval times. It's not really in vogue with anything we're dealing with these days. I'm a little distracted now because I had a few tech problems here. But nevertheless, let me just tell you that in a nutshell, the Pope is wrong. That's the answer to your question. The Pope is wrong. He's misled. Everything else, that's just how I feel. Melvin from the Bronx. Melvin said the Grammys. I enjoyed the Grammys because they took out the awards and left in the music. That was a good thing. I did hear that, Melvin. But let me ask you a question rhetorically because you don't have to answer. Is that music? Is what they're doing now, this noise that they call, is that music, Melvin? It's noise, Melvin. It has no melodic quality whatsoever. It's nothing even resembling music, Melvin. I'll leave it at that. Lee Strasberg, fabled acting teacher, you ask? No. Lee, Jupiter, Florida. I got a lot of people from Jupiter. The right-wing doctor thing is on point. I went to a heart surgeon, found out he was Trump's boy, and I went to another person instead. Well, you missed the point if that's what you did. See, to me, I don't care if he was Trump's boy, as you say. I mean, not my words, his. I don't care if he was Trump's boy. Is he experienced? Can he stick his hand in my chest and do the right thing for me so I don't have to find myself 6 feet under? That's the question I ask. I don't ask him where his political leanings are before I walk in, but I appreciate it. Dave in the, Dave's in Virginia. Virginia. Yep. Virginia. We're in Virginia because he wrote that. I can't see. Do you happen to watch The Bachelor? That's what Dave asked. I'd rather stick needles in my eyes, Dave. I'd rather have a hernia the size of a watermelon, Dave, than watch The Bachelor. What happened? I heard there was something going on in the Bachelor. Was it a racial thing? I had the story, but I'm not quite sure of the details, so I didn't talk about it. I heard it briefly. No, one of these shows, I'm not quite sure whether or not I have it completely right, but I heard that a black bachelor, the bachelor chooses all the bachelorettes, I assume. He chooses out of maybe 25 or 30 women or something like that. I heard that he had chosen a few seasons back, a black bachelor had chosen a white bachelorette, and they got together, worked together for quite some time, and then they broke off. And it seems that after the breakup, the white bachelorette used her very distinct white privilege and started railing on the black bachelor with, I don't know, were there some racial indiscretions? I'm not quite sure what happened, but it seems like she wasn't really vicious, malicious in what she was saying, but it wasn't woke. You know that word woke? I don't think I've ever actually used it before, but it does apply in this situation. She wasn't as woke as she could have been. I did hear that. And it seems that the bachelor, the African-American guy, he actually called her on it. And when she apologized, he didn't accept the apology. This is all I know about it. And said, well, I won't be the sounding board or the sounding board of your apology. It's not up to me to forgive or not to forgive you. You have to deal with it in your own way. Well, give me a break. What a bunch of condescending horse bleep. Come on, man. The woman is, from what I understand, the woman is being hung out to dry, and the bachelor is piling up on her, from what I understand. And I really shouldn't talk about a case in which I know very little, but I just had to mention it because I was asked by our friend here. Tara. Where's Tara? Minnesota. How about that? Minnesota. Tara said, how about the Amityville Horror? Now, Tara said that I'm 65 years old. Really? I didn't think there was anybody named Tara that was 65. Tara reminds me of a 25-year-old chickie poo, But Tara was 65 years old. The Amityville Horror was something that scared the life out of me as a younger person. Have you heard the latest? In short, no. I can't comment. I don't know what you're talking about. You have to be more detailed than that. I have no idea what you're talking about. All I can say is that I've never seen a ghost. I've never heard of any ghosts nearby. Nothing's approached me in the middle of the night with any kind of frightening soliloquy. I've never been bothered or haunted by any entity ever in my life. I think it's a lot of I don't want to say the word again. I've been saying it too often. I think it's a lot of nonsense. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in UFOs. I don't believe in anything extraterrestrial. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in anything I can't see. See, if I can't see it, I don't believe it. Show it to me, and I'll believe. And when a ghost tonight, when I go to bed, and I will, a ghost comes up to me and starts to talk to me and starts to, fondle me, then maybe I'll believe. But until then, until that moment comes, I am forever the skeptic. Dr. Liederman is in the heart of Manhattan. And let me tell you, oh, boy, this guy is top-notch. Why? He's pioneered radio surgery. What is radio surgery? An invisible beam directed at that cancer. Now, you go for chemo. You go for traditional radiation. You go through the mill. You're sick for a good long time. You're probably killing cancer cells, but you're killing the healthy cells. See, that's what radiosurgery doesn't deal with. It's a pinpoint beam directed at your cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, liver cancer, and all of the maladies that come about during this life. Dr. Gill has got it under control because he has this radiosurgery that is so pinpoint. And it's wonderful because it leaves those aforementioned healthy cells intact. Now, you call 212-CHOICES for a consultation. 212-CHOICES. Now, 212-CHOICES is the number you make your consultation schedule, and you go to Dr. Gill. He talks to you about the tests you had prior, anything that revolves around your case, and he points you in the right direction. And let me tell you something that you may not know. The radiosurgery treatments are done on an outpatient basis. They are done on an outpatient basis, no hospital stay. They are painless, bloodless. It's just something that's almost too good to be true. Now, when I say that, I don't want to mislead you. Your cancer has not been a picnic. Many of you, it's been a disaster. I understand. I have not gone through it. Who knows what's in store? What I'm saying is, this is an alternative to traditional cancer care. This is not Sloan Kettering. It's not a big hospital. It's a private doctor's office, and everything is there. There is no hospital stay. As I mentioned, you go get your treatment and you go home and you come back for your next, and so on and so forth. 212-CHOICES. 212-CHOICES. The great thing about Dr. Gill is that he's located in the center of town, 1384 Broadway, easy access, Port Authority, Penn Station, Grand Central, that wonderful, majestic building, Grand Central Terminal. You can go walk over. The city isn't very crowded, even now. You can go over and walk to Dr. Gill from those places that I just mentioned and get everything you need done. But first, call for the consultation. 212-CHOICES. 212-CHOICES. Dr. Gill has a wonderful bedside manner. Dr. Gil Liederman in the heart of New York City, 212-CHOICES. A1 Health Food, Passaic, New Jersey. Mom and Pop. It's a store like no other. It has the big names, the smaller names, everything imaginable. If they don't have it, you can order it. Curbside, how about that? If you're a little bit you don't want to go inside, you're a little bit afraid, curbside is an option for you for A1 Health Food. You get that feeling when you walk in that you're at home. You get the feeling that you're being taken care of. You may be the only customer in the place, and everyone is willing to take care of you in every way imaginable. Anything you need that you don't understand in the supplement world, just talk it over with Kevin or Joyce. They'll let you know what's going on and where to go and whether it's a good choice for you. The juice bar is there, the organic produce, the organic meats, the wonderful, healthful cosmetics, everything right at hand at A1 Health Food. in Passaic, New Jersey. Now, the thing about A1, again, we want to support the mom-and-pop establishments across the country. We don't want to give all our money to Whole Foods, although wonderful. We don't want to give all our money to Trader Joe's, although a beautiful place to go. But A1 is a throwback. A1 is in the neighborhood. A1 serves the people of the community. It's a beautiful thing. A1 Health Food, Passaic, New Jersey. Go there. With my blessing. Listen, I had a wonderful time tonight. I hope you did too. We're on board tomorrow night and Thursday night and Sunday night at 8 o'clock. You want to send me a letter? It's Ralph Romeo, Multicultural Radio, 40 Exchange Place, 2nd floor, New York City, 10005. One more. Time, Ralph Romeo, Multicultural Radio, 40 Exchange Place, 2nd floor, New York City, 10005. Follow me on Facebook, RALPHROMEO, Ralph Romeo. Go to YouTube. See those shows you've missed. Romeo Radio. Those shows you've missed on YouTube. The audio is there. You'll see me in a black and white photo behind the microphone. You can't miss me. I have facial hair in this picture. I usually don't, but I do in this shot. And you can listen to the shows you've missed. Listen, I enjoyed it tremendously. I hope you did too. I will see you tomorrow night, same bat time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. WPAT. Thanks so much for being there. Have a good evening.